Nunavut stretches across the far north of Canada, where sea ice, tundra, and scattered coastal communities define the landscape. Much of the region sits above the Arctic Circle, facing long winters, wide horizons, and an environment that still shapes daily life. Here, distances are vast, roads are rare, and travel often follows the rhythm of weather and seasons. This territory is the newest in Canada. Nunavut was officially created in 1999 after a long political process that gave the Inuit population greater control over their homeland. What emerged is a region that covers roughly 2 million square kilometers, making it one of the largest administrative areas in the world. Yet, despite its immense size, the population remains small and widely dispersed. The geography explains much of what visitors experience here. Islands dominate the territory, including Baffin Island, one of the largest islands on Earth. Much of the coastline is carved by fjords, glaciers, and Arctic waters that freeze and thaw with the seasons. Inland, tundra landscapes stretch for hundreds of kilometers, dotted with lakes and shaped by permafrost. For many travelers, the gateway into this environment is Iqaluit, the capital of Nunavut. Located on Baffin Island, the city serves as the administrative and transportation hub of the territory. Flights from southern Canada arrive here before continuing toward smaller Arctic communities. Around the city, the land quickly opens into wide coastal plains, rocky hills, and sea ice that connects communities during winter months. Nature is central to tourism in Nunavut. Arctic wildlife moves across these landscapes in patterns that have existed for centuries. Polar bears, caribou, seals, and Arctic foxes are part of a fragile ecosystem where survival depends on the short Arctic summer and the long frozen season that follows. But wildlife alone does not define the region. Nunavut is also the cultural homeland of the Inuit. Traditions, language, and daily life remain closely connected to the Arctic environment. Hunting routes, seasonal travel, and community gatherings continue to shape how people interact with the land and sea. Across the territory, these elements come together to create a travel experience very different from southern Canada. Remote settlements, Arctic wildlife, and Inuit culture form the foundation of tourism in a place where nature still determines the pace of life. To understand how this northern region works as a destination, it helps to look more closely at a few key locations. From the capital city of Iqaluit to the landscapes of Baffin Island and the wildlife and traditions that define the Arctic, the next sections explore the places that shape travel in Nunavut. Iqaluit is the largest settlement in Nunavut and the territory's capital. Located on the southern coast of Baffin Island along Frobisher Bay, the city serves as the administrative, transportation, and cultural center of the region. Government offices, regional services, and Nunavut's main airport are based here, linking the Arctic to southern Canada through regular flights. Colorful houses stand against a rocky tundra landscape, while local institutions such as the Nunavut Museum highlight Inuit history and craftsmanship, offering visitors a first glimpse into daily life in Canada's far north. Yet Nunavut's real attraction rarely lies within its settlements. The landscape itself defines travel in this region. Just beyond the capital begins Baffin Island, a vast Arctic island where mountains, fjords, glaciers, and tundra dominate the horizon. Baffin Island is one of the largest islands in the world and forms the geographic heart of Nunavut. Much of its coastline is deeply carved by Arctic waters, while inland areas are shaped by ancient ice and exposed rock. The island's scale alone is striking. Large portions remain uninhabited, and many of its landscapes are accessible only by air or seasonal boat travel. For travelers interested in Arctic wilderness, Baffin Island offers some of the most dramatic scenery in northern Canada. One of the most well-known protected areas here is Auyuittuq National Park. Located along the eastern side of Baffin Island, the park is known for its sharp granite peaks, glaciers, and long valleys carved by ice. The name Auyuittuq is often translated as the land that never melts, a reference to the permanent ice fields that remain even during the short Arctic summer. Hiking routes follow glacial corridors between towering mountains, creating one of the most recognizable Arctic landscapes in Canada. Farther north, Sirmilik National Park protects another major section of Baffin Island's wilderness. This park includes glaciers, Arctic lowlands, and marine environments where sea ice shapes the ecosystem for much of the year. Wildlife plays a major role here. Polar bears, narwhals, seals, and seabirds are commonly associated with the surrounding waters and coastal cliffs. The park's location along important migration routes makes it one of the most significant Arctic wildlife areas in the region. Nearby lies the small Arctic community of Pond Inlet. Situated at the northern edge of Baffin Island, the settlement faces dramatic mountain scenery across Eclipse Sound. It is often considered one of the main access points for exploring Sirmilik National Park and the surrounding fjords. Traditional Inuit culture remains highly visible here, and local guiding services sometimes take visitors out onto the sea ice or surrounding waters to observe wildlife and Arctic landscapes shaped by glaciers and wind. On the western shore of Hudson Bay lies the community of Arviat, one of Nunavut's southernmost settlements. Its location along the coast places it near important Arctic wildlife migration routes. During certain times of the year, polar bears travel along the shoreline as sea ice begins to form or break apart. Guided observation tours sometimes take visitors into the surrounding tundra to safely view these animals in their natural environment. In summer, the nearby waters of Hudson Bay attract large groups of beluga whales. Boat tours and coastal viewing areas provide opportunities to watch these white whales as they move through shallow Arctic waters. Far to the north, the landscape becomes even more remote. Ellesmere Island forms the northernmost edge of Canada and is one of the least visited inhabited regions in the world. Mountains, glaciers, and vast ice-covered terrain dominate the island, and many areas remain accessible only through specialized expeditions or chartered flights. The island's extreme environment places it close to the high Arctic, where winter darkness lasts for months and temperatures can remain far below freezing. Within this island lies Quttinirpaaq National Park, one of the most isolated national parks on Earth. The park protects polar deserts, ice caps, and long valleys shaped by ancient glaciers. Vegetation is sparse, and wildlife is adapted to some of the harshest conditions on the continent. Musk oxen, Arctic wolves, and migratory birds can occasionally be seen in this stark landscape. Because of its remote location and difficult access, only a small number of travelers reach the park each year. Another unusual Arctic location lies farther south in the Canadian Arctic archipelago. Devon Island is known as the largest uninhabited island in the world. The island has no permanent settlements and is dominated by rocky plateaus, deep fjords, and large impact formations such as the Houghton crater. Its dry polar desert environment has even been used by scientists to simulate conditions similar to those on Mars, making it a place of interest not only for explorers, but also for scientific research. These remote islands also connect to a longer history of Arctic exploration. For centuries, European expeditions searched these waters for a navigable route between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. This route, known as the Northwest Passage, runs through the complex network of channels and islands across the Canadian Arctic. Many expeditions struggled against ice, extreme weather, and the challenges of navigating unfamiliar terrain. Some voyages became famous for their discoveries, while others ended in hardship and mystery. Today, parts of the Northwest Passage are occasionally navigated by specialized ships as seasonal sea ice retreats, but the route remains closely tied to the long history of Arctic exploration and the enduring influence of the region's environment. Nunavut offers a very different kind of travel experience within Canada. From the capital Iqaluit on Baffin Island to remote Arctic parks and uninhabited islands, the territory is defined by vast tundra landscapes, glaciers, sea ice, and wildlife adapted to one of the harshest climates on Earth. Inuit culture, Arctic geography, and a small number of scattered communities shape daily life across a region that spans roughly 2 million square kilometers. Reaching Nunavut is possible, but it usually requires careful planning. Many visitors arrive through expedition-style cruise journeys that travel along the Arctic coastline during the short summer season. These trips can be expensive, and infrastructure across the territory remains very limited. Few roads exist between communities, and travel often depends on aircraft or specialized ships. At the same time, this limited access is part of what makes Nunavut so unique. Large parts of the territory remain among the most untouched natural environments in the world. Only a small number of travelers ever witness these Arctic landscapes, making the experience rare even among northern destinations. If this journey through Nunavut was interesting, consider liking the video, sharing thoughts in the comments, and subscribing to Wanderway for more travel documentaries exploring unique places around the world.